Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at this etrailer round pipe mount jack. This is going to be a really quick and easy way if you've got that pipe mount to get a jack onto your trailer, and this one's going to be a top wind handle. Let's check it out. Now with it being a top wind handle, I find these a little easier to operate, especially from just a normal standing height, and it's a lot more comfortable for me. But you might run into clearance issues on your trailer. This does stick out 8.5 inches or have an 8.5 inch turning radius from the center. So I'd say to really have comfortable clearance with something, if you say have a toolbox or the trailer itself comes really close, I'd say give yourself 10 inches of room from the center of where that jack would sit so that you can make a full rotation. Otherwise, if you're limited on space, a side wind might be better suited for those cases, depending on where it sits on your trailer. And as far as support goes, this has a 7,000 pound lift capacity and an 8,000 pound support capacity. And really all that means is you can load it up a little heavier if it's just sitting here, but the moment you want to raise it up and actively use the jack to lift this, your capacity is going to be that 7,000 pound mark. So if you're leaving it on the job site or something, loading it up overnight and letting it sit there, that's fine. Just don't overload it when you're trying to actually use the jack. And this is going to be a bit of a smaller jack. From the center of that pipe mount to the bottom of the footplate, when this is fully retracted, which it's pretty close to right now, it's only going to be 11.5 inches. And if you were to fully extend this and raise it up all the way, that same measurement or from the same points is going to be 21.5 inches. So if you're looking for a jack that doesn't need a ton of travel, let's say your trailer doesn't have a lot of ground clearance or you're not often parking on uneven terrain, then this will probably be just fine, especially when compared to other pipe mount jacks that have a similar weight capacity that tend to be a lot bigger. But on the flip side of that, if you need the extra drop height, or maybe you want a drop leg, something just to get you some extra clearance, there's plenty of options available that you can check out too. And with these pipe mount swivel jacks, it's really easy to just pull the pin and rotate it to the side for storage. But you'll notice that we're running into issues on our particular trailer with the footplate, and it's just not going to give us enough clearance. To know if you'll have the same issues with your trailer, you can take those measurements we gave earlier from that center of the pipe mount to the bottom of the footplate to know if that fully retracted length is enough to give you clearance, but also from the center of that pipe mount to the top. That's going to be 7.5 inches, and it'll let you know if you have clearance on the other end. In our case, it would be okay, but again, that footplate's hitting, so that's where we're having issues. The advantage there, though, is that if need be, if this is the perfect size and fit for you, weight capacity and all that, then you can just take it off whenever you're hooked up to your vehicle and pop it back on whenever you're ready to unhook. Just make sure you find a safe place to keep this is all. As far as that footplate goes, it's going to be 6 inches by 8 inches, and while that does mean clearance makes just things a lot harder because of its size, it will do amazing on softer terrain because you're spreading that weight of the trailer on a much larger footprint than you would be with something that has a caster wheel or a much smaller footplate. And all throughout you'll notice there's zinc plating or a black paint finish on the outer body here to help protect against rust and corrosion from the outside, keeping this operating smoothly. And all the internals are really smooth too. To keep them smooth, you can apply grease through the Zerk fitting on the side right there, making the maintenance on this really easy. As far as the install goes, you'll notice that on our trailer today, we already had a welded-on mounting location that we just slid this over. On the jack side, the inner diameter of that tube is 2 inches, and the outer diameter is 2.5 inches. So ours just slid over the existing mount, but it does come with a weld-on bracket that is going to work by sliding over that housing. So this has an inner diameter of 2.5 inches. If you choose to go that route, you'd weld it somewhere to the side of your trailer. Our frame here isn't quite big enough, so that's something to keep in mind too with the larger size. But that is included if you don't have an existing mounting location. But if you don't have the ability to weld or don't want to weld it, there's a third option, and that's the bolt-on pipe jack mount from etrailer. There's 2 holes right there that you could bolt this through your frame using included hardware, and this mounting location here has a 2-inch diameter, so it would slide over this just like you see here. The only thing is this has a slightly lower weight capacity, 3,500 pounds. So for this particular jack, we would not be getting the full performance out of it, which for us today on this smaller camper would be no problem. This is well within the 3,500 pound weight capacity, but if you're pushing the limits on this jack or putting this on a larger trailer, then that's something to consider. This is easier, but you're gonna limit yourself because of that limited weight capacity. So overall, I'm a big fan of this jack. I'm a fan particularly of the top wind handle. I think they're just easier to operate. And I also like the really large footplate at the bottom for parking on softer terrain. It's just not something you're gonna have to worry about as much. But it really just comes down to your needs. There's so many different options with these pipe mounted jacks. You can get some with sidewind or top wind handles depending on your needs, different size footplates and different heights and configurations to fit your trailer the best. So that's, I think, what's gonna come down to is what kind of weight capacity do you need for your trailer? In this case, probably something a little smaller. And what kind of clearances do you need? In this case, again, probably something a little smaller. But if this fits your needs, then I think it's gonna be a really solid choice. Thanks for watching.